All right, so I just saw The Color Purple, the musical remake of the musical Broadway stage. I think it's Broadway, I don't know. I know they adapted the book, The Color Purple, into a musical stage play, and that's the version that they've made into a movie here. But this movie is also produced by Oprah and Steven Spielberg, who were both involved in the original The Color Purple movie back in the 80s. Steven Spielberg directed that one. Classic. And so I don't believe this movie is technically a remake of that movie. It's a remake of the musical, but since they're both based off of this book, they share a lot of similarities. Obviously, the same characters, same plot beats, that type of stuff. So while I haven't seen the musical, I have seen the original Steven Spielberg directed movie. So I am somewhat familiar with this story. I've seen it before, and I must say the Steven Spielberg movie is very good. It's not a musical. It is a more of a straightforward historical drama. And as with most Steven Spielberg movies, it's directed very well, it's acted very well, it's a good movie. It's got a good reputation. So this movie has a lot to live up to, being a musical and all. I do say that if you're going to reintroduce this story to a new audience, which seemed to be the goal with this movie, doing it as a musical is a smart way to do it. Instead of just doing it as a straightforward drama, which we have so many of those, making it unique and making it a musical this time around opens it up to a whole new audience of music lovers and theater lovers and stuff like that that normally probably wouldn't be too interested in checking out this movie. I like musicals, and so I was excited to watch this movie. And I must say, the first half of the movie really sold me on its musical numbers. It was lively and colorful, and the music is toe tapping, and the performances and the singers are all fantastic, and it's just great. Unfortunately, the problem is that it focuses so much on the musical set pieces that a lot of the nuance and character and extra sort of meat and potatoes type stuff that we get in the original movie is kind of lost. We get the general idea of the plight of our main character and her relationships with the other characters in the story, but we don't get any of the subtle nuances that the original movie gave us. And that's not necessarily because the movie just wasn't good at it, it's just it had to give us these epic musical scenes instead, and it didn't have the time to set up the more, dramatic scenes to set up atmosphere and really give us a sense of how awful our main character's life is, which is something that you really get a sense of in the first movie. There's always this sense of intimidation and danger present in our main character's life that just is kind of felt here, but not as severely as the original movie. But by the end of the movie, it does succeed in making you feel about as happy for our main character and how her fortunes are reversed that the first movie does. And again, I won't spoil any of the details, but spoiler alert, this movie has a happy ending. But I would say this movie does just as good of a job of making you feel all warm and fuzzy inside that the original movie does. So it doesn't fail on all of the character stuff. It's not as subtle as the first movie, I think is what I'm trying to say. As far as performances go, everybody here is bringing their A game. It's all fantastic. I believe her name is Danielle Brooks, the character who plays Sophie in this film. I think this might be her breakout role. She steals the show. She's funny. She's dramatic. She's the heart and soul of the movie. She's not the main character. She's one of the side characters, but she really is the heart and soul. I kind of see her as like the linchpin that most of the people in my theater, at least, myself included, connected to her the most, even more so than our main character. Not to discredit that actress's performance. I know she's performed this on the stage, and this is her first time being in this big of a movie, and she's fantastic as well. But Danielle Brooks, I believe her name is, did just a fantastic job and stole the show. And if she's nominated for Oscars, I would not be surprised. So yeah, all in all, a solid movie. I don't think it's as good as the first one just because we get to know the characters more in the original movie. But as far as musicals go and a competently made musical, this one is pretty decent. It is a good time. So if you're a fan of musicals and this one interests you, then I would definitely recommend that you go ahead and check it out.